You made this?
Feeling good, got some weed up in my wood, chasing streams just like I should, letting go because I could.
All right, let's get into it. What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of JK Philly. Today we got Sacremento Kings at the Table official. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Doing really good. So yeah, I just want to, start off each episode by going through with all the people that we got on, just giving a little bit of background about your channel and, why you started, what you're doing with it, and, everything like that.
For sure. So my name is Rich, based out of Sacramento, California. I have a co-host named Juan also. He's not on with this one. He gets a little break during basketball season. We do a lot of football also. But we pretty much just started. We love sports. We feel like that brings people together. Where we're from out here in Sacramento, there's not really much going on. So we kind of want to give, the youth a different direction of just give them hope of starting a different thing as far as just podcasting. Sure. I feel like that's a good thing to get people together. But overall, I just love sports, man.
For sure. Let's just jump right into this though. Like I stated from the beginning, I usually start off by going chronologically, but I think with this team and how the season went, we can definitely jump around a little bit. But we can, however, start off with talking about the beginning and getting Demar Derozan in the offseason. Tell me how you specifically liked his game alongside Fox in the beginning of the year, of course, and what that really would have looked like in the years to come.
Yeah, obviously now that we've seen it together, it's a little different story. But when we first got him, I was thinking it was a huge move. I mean, not just because it's DeRozan, but again, Sacramento doesn't land these big free agents. We're more of, we got to get lucky in the draft. Yeah. So to see DeRozan come back to California, come back home in a way, not necessarily LA, but you're talking an hour away. Yet we have a team that's trending the right way as far as like playoffs, maybe contending, and we land a closer, top closer in the league. So I felt that it was going to be a great pickup, not just because, again, it's an all-star, but it's another closer. So it would have got some heat off of DeAaron Fox. DeAaron Fox was already balling, almost becoming a superstar. He still hasn't become one yet. He's always had the potential. This is Philly, so it's kind of like a Maxey. Now, I kind of compared them together. I'm not sure who I would take, honestly. They're pretty close, but yeah. Long story short, DeRozan, I was pretty hyped about it, man.
For sure.
I was upset when you guys lost DeAaron Fox. I thought going back 2 years ago to the Warriors series, I was thinking you guys were like a DeMar DeRozan closer type of guy away from maybe being a top 3 seed in the East and making some noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's if we're going to talk about the DeAaron move, there's a lot to that, man. You got to go back to contracts. You got to go to, are we going to let him just walk and not get anything? So, I mean, are we talking DeRozan or Fox? Because we could get into Fox. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, we'll for sure get into Fox. I wanted to specifically start with DeRozan because of, somewhat chronologically, but also he's been in the news a lot recently, or at least social media, of just like randomly getting into fights with people at a bar or something like that. And then I don't know if it was some fake news or if it was just like, falsified reports or something like that, but he's looking like, or he at least mentioned to people that, hey, I don't want to be in, Sacramento if Fox isn't here, basically. Like, I already did my time with Levine. I'm cool off of that now, So it looks like he might be wanting to move on too. So I didn't know if that was true or not, but wanted to know what you think about that, if it is true.
Yeah, as far as him wanting to leave, that's not all the way true. I mean, he does want to hear the direction we're headed, obviously. I mean, I think even the fans, it's not just the players. Everybody wants to know what direction we're going. We don't even know. No one knows. You fire your head coach, your best player, your GM. What's next? You going to move? Oh, sorry, but you going to move the city now? Like, you going to go to Las Vegas? What's next? We need to know. Because if the players don't know, the coaches don't know, well, you think the fans are gonna know? Like the owner needs to start showing more stability and showing us what direction he's going. Like he wants to show us a little bit and kind of tease us and want us to get season tickets. I'm a season ticket holder, so it kind of hits me a little harder because it's like, God damn,
For sure.
over here spending all my money, hard work, 40 hours a week, maybe a little overtime, and y'all gonna do this to me?
Right.
And it's not just me. I know we're all feeling that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got in that weird limbo state where, it's not time to rebuild, but it's like, I understand where DeRozan's coming from. Like, where do you want to take this team? Like, show me. I don't necessarily just want to jump ship, but show me what the future looks like on this team and like what we're gonna do.
Right, and respectfully so. I mean, he's later in his career already. He's like, kind of trending down a bit respectfully. He's a Hall of Famer and all. But honestly, I don't think that he wants to leave. He kind of just wants to see where we're going. But I mean, I wouldn't blame him if he asked for a trade.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat as well. But since we mentioned him a few times now, I think it's a perfect time to go into that trade and his time and sample size that he's shown so far. DeAaron Fox with the Kings. You think it was a good trade? You think it was timely, that it was about time that he needed to go? Or, I know you mentioned a little bit of contracts. Just give me your thought process behind that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little tough now that he's left. He was the franchise player. If I don't know if you're aware, but the Sacremento Kings fan base is split right down the middle of the trade. It's kind of like the Halliburton Sabonis is right down the middle. Either you hate it, you love it, or there's no in between. There's no way to go about it. But me, honestly, I thought it was the right move. I mean, respectfully, again, it's not that I'm saying that Fox wasn't the right fit or anything, but it was more of me personally, with all the rumors going on in Sacramento, you're talking that he wants out. And he pretty much said after the Mike Brown firing, which was out of nowhere, you're talking that the record was 13-18, 5-game lose streak, and we lose to a buzzer beater to the Pistons. DeAaron Fox is going up to the three-point line trying to block the shot. Buzzer beater, game over. He goes straight up to Fox at practice. They're thinking that he's directly going at Fox. Fox said he was just telling me what's up. And next thing you know, Mike Brown's fired. Fox didn't want Mike Brown fired. I don't know if you guys knew that. It came out already. He never wanted Mike Brown fired. When he got fired, he's pretty much saying he wants out. You can't let him just walk for free. He has too much value with him. So I thought the trade had to be done. A lot of the fans didn't like the trade. I'm not sure how you don't like it. You get 3 first-round picks. You get an asset in LaVine. I know a lot of people ain't too big on LaVine, but he's a top 10 shooting guard in the league. You get a top 10 shooting guard in any position, you're going to want that on your team. You just got to build the team right. And you end up getting 3 second-round picks. Two of those second-round picks were flipped for Jonas Valanciunas. So you get Valanciunas, LaVine, 3 first-round picks. Look at the Luka trade. Luka gets 1 first-round pick, AD, and Christie. Come on now. Fox ain't Luka, so.
Yeah, that's a good point. Especially when months before, it was rumored that DeAaron Fox really wanted to go to San Antonio, way before the trade deadline. It wasn't one of those things where you heard some whispers a couple days leading up to it. It was a month and a half, 2 months in advance, and you just don't want that around the team. And like you said, you don't want to lose him for nothing. And I think it's a great point. It's a really good haul for DeAaron Fox at a really good time.
And again, it's no hard feeling towards him wanting out. I mean, it was written on the wall. You could kind of tell from the beginning of the season it wasn't there. Something was off. Whether it was the head coach, with the GM, with the owner. Obviously, you're looking at it now, and it's all clear that everything was just, there was something there. There was tension. Yeah. And yeah, I mean that's what I got to say about that, man.
Yeah.
What y'all think? You guys like that trade?
Yeah, I thought.
That's what I was kind of going to explain towards my next question as well, because it just does seem like something's off. Yes, I don't even remember what the year was, but it was when Mike Brown was starting to get big, on social media, people are reposting them and stuff like that. They're getting to the playoffs. The whole light the beam and everything is getting big on social media. So it's the Kings are here. The Kings are here to play. And then after that season, it just felt to me personally on social media, just started to die down and fall off the face of the earth. And we're hey, remember, De'Aaron Fox's name only gets brought up when we're talking about who's the fastest point guard in the league. I feel that's the only time that I ever hear his name. But, now that it kind of just seems like a mess with this going on because of, the exit in the play-in game. And I want to just emphasize on my if for this question. But if this team stays together with, Sabonis, DeMar, LaVine, and even Malik Monk to a degree, do you think you could place somewhere better than the play-in next year? Or is it really time to just blow up, maybe move a couple guys? You got some draft picks coming up, see what you can do with them, trade up for this draft. What are you really thinking?
Right now, we're in that gray area. which sucks. You have to choose a side. You're going to rebuild, you're going to add a couple pieces. The crazy part is I'm more optimistic. I can see a couple pieces get fixed, get maybe into the first round, maybe potentially second round. It sounds crazy. You think Kings like what, bro? Like y'all got whooped to the Mavs in the playing game without Kyrie. Well, there's a lot to it. Again, you just got a trade done mid-season. You lost your head coach. You lost your franchise player, and you expect all this to just work? Come on. My thing I'm looking at it is like, all right, you see Team USA, right? The greatest team possibly ever this offseason in the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
You see how they kind of struggled a bit with chemistry against these other countries? You're talking the best team arguably ever, and it still struggled against these worser teams. Now, it's not even to compare the talent, but I'm saying as far as chemistry, it takes a while. So I think it could kind of get fixed a bit. I'm thinking maybe Trae Young or LaMelo Ball. That's what I'm hearing a lot is those two names for his point guard.
Mm-hmm.
And Scott Perry, our new GM, kind of likes LaMelo Ball. So I can see that happen.
Okay.
I don't know what the asking price is, but if they don't get that first pick to get Cooper Flag, I can see them trading LaMelo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's for sure. I've talked to the Hornets as well, and I actually just talked to, I think, the Hawks before too. That were actually both saying, of course, LaMelo for the Hornets, but the Hawks were kind of saying that too, and it was a possibility that he would go. Or no, it was the Raptors. The Raptors said it was a possibility of LaMelo if he does get traded to go to them as well, which kind of doesn't make sense. But no, I think that could be a nice new home for LaMelo. A little bit more depending on who you give up in terms of that trade and stuff like that. But
my bad, not to cut you off, but you had the Hornets fan base on?
Yeah, they were like our.
What did he say? Is he saying they hearing they might trade him?
He's very optimistic that we should hold on a little bit longer, depending on if we get this trade, basically. If we get this draft pick. If they get Cooper Flag, this team can look completely different. If we get a Ace Bailey or a VJ Edgecombe even, or just somebody in the draft that can pair with him and Brandon Miller and stuff like that, we'll give him a chance. But it's going to have to come to an end sooner or later, and we can't just ride off of the LaMelo Ball wave because he puts people in seats.
Nice.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so no, I think it's very interesting. I do want to see the Kings, succeed more because like I was saying with the social media piece of like the whole Light the Beam and Mike Brown and his culture that he brought, it's kind of it's dying out now because your superstar player, like you said, and your head coach that was very aggressive and very charismatic is gone now. It's kind of like a situation how Mike Malone just got fired as well. Of course, you didn't get rid of your best player, but it's the culture that puts it together, and it kind of just looked like it took a nosedive once that came about. So I do get the hesitancy with what you guys want to do or what you think would be the best option, but yeah, it's
let me ask you this: do you feel that we should probably reset? I mean, I know trust the process. That's something big in Philly. Should we lean that way? Probably.
I think Kev is a great example of if you reset, just be ready to be terrible for a few years, but you can really bank on somebody. I'm kind of that same way too, and it's like I feel like now that you pulled the trigger on getting rid of DeAaron Fox, so I feel like it's probably okay now to rebuild, because it's like if we kept him and maybe they played a little better, but we just got unfortunate in the play-in or the playoffs, then whatever. But you pulled that trigger already. I think you got to blow something up. Like you can't keep running the Sacramento Bulls with Sabonis now, and we already saw that didn't work in Chicago. So yeah, I don't know what they should do. They definitely should move one of those two pieces, because I don't even know why they brought them in the first place together. So
yeah.
It
was more of a good piece to get, I guess, an asset for DeAaron Fox. You couldn't just let him walk.
No,
but again, I'm not.
For sure.
I'm not like how everybody's saying the Chicago Kings and all that. I get it. It's easy to say right now because we were in the play-in.
Yeah.
But hey, Malik Monk was injured. You're talking about sixth man of the year. Mm-hmm. We need a point guard. We had no point guard. So when you look at that 2022 roster, I mean, this roster on paper is way better than that one, and we are potentially heading up to become a contending team. So I can see both ways. That's
Yeah.
kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I'm not doubting, DeMar Derozan or Zach LaVine, because they definitely had bright spots and they were at least in playoff or play-in contention every single year. So it's just what was surrounded by them in Chicago is definitely different now because they got a guy like Sabonis who is now their best player and, not really talked a lot, but he was, like he led the league in like rebounds this year. So, he's a force out there. So could be a different situation that you're not around Nikola Vucevic, so you could see what happens with him.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate your time. I feel like we had a pretty good chat. If you would like to, shout out your channel, shout out anything that you guys got going on with your channel and stuff like that.
Definitely. It's Kings at the Table official. I'm on YouTube, Instagram. I haven't really got on any more platforms. We need to work on that. Again, we cover a lot of just football in general. We're not just specifically Kings. I know the title is Kings at the Table, but it's more of just sports in general. We do touch other basketball teams also. But yeah, if you guys can hit a subscribe or a follow. Again, I appreciate you guys having me on, though. That's a solid move. Hopefully we could keep on working or something.
For sure. Yeah, I would definitely love to stay in touch with, a lot of basketball and sports creators. But make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and like the video. We'll be back next week for a new episode. Talk to you guys. Thank you guys for watching another episode of JK Philly. Make sure you stay tuned by subscribing to the channel.